Okay, this is episode 73 of My Circus, My Monkeys, and welcome to the last part of our 2021 wrap-up series. We designed this series to help you start off 2022 by starting your transformation from an overwhelmed, stressed out supervisor into a confident, empowered, and authentic leader. If you've been following us along the way, thank you for joining us. If you missed any of the first parts of this series, and there's 4 altogether, this is the 4th one, you can watch them at www.strengthsuniversity.org/2021 wrap-up. So I want to quickly recap everything we covered in these first 3 sessions, or parts, or whatever you want to call them. So first, if you've been struggling trying to juggle your role as a supervisor and that giant pile of work on your desk, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you haven't gotten the training and support you needed. Most of us started our supervising out with nothing more than a pat on the back and the codes to the copier. From there, you tried using the skills and the subconscious programs you developed over the years to piece together a system that would give you success. You probably also asked other people for their advice, your supervisor, HR, trusted colleagues, etc. But the problem is most of those systems and sources weren't actually based in effective practices. So that means every day you're doing things on automatic pilot that aren't getting you where you want to go. In fact, they may very well be taking you away from success. So if you're struggling at work, your conscious mind might know that there's a problem and even start looking for solutions. But the problem is, we've been taught we can find the answers in books, podcasts, more trainings, etc. And while that's an important first step, our conscious mind is only in charge of our feelings, thoughts, and actions 1 to 5% of the time. Learning information doesn't bring change. In fact, it can actually make you feel worse about yourself. After all, if you know what you're supposed to be doing, but then you keep doing the things that you've already done, that means there's something wrong with you, right? Wrong. The problem is, not only did you not get the right supervisor training, you also haven't been taught to work with your brain to make meaningful changes. Our subconscious mind is a powerful tool that was designed to conserve our energy and help us survive. It does that by automating the things it believes will help us stay alive. The subconscious mind controls your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors 95 to 99% of the time. And the problem is that most of the programs you have aren't aligned with your current goals. And when you're not where you want to be in life, it's because your systems need an upgrade, including the ones that you have for your unique talents. So in order to get this upgrade, first you have to identify what's not working. And that includes doing the energy log we talked about in the first part of this series, assessing your systems, which we discussed in the second part, and understanding how your talents are helping you be productive and how they're getting in your way that we talked about in the third part of this series. All of this involves becoming conscious of what your subconscious is doing that 90 to 95% of the time. When your conscious mind can decide what's working for you and what isn't, both with your supervisor role and really any other part of your life, that happens after you've done this assessment, after you've done this reflection. So that's the first step. Then you need to add the right training to this new awareness. You have to get information that you've been lacking so you can upgrade your systems in a way that has proven to be effective. And like we talked about in the third part of this series, a weakness is defined as a shortage or misapplication of talent, skill, or knowledge that causes problems for you or others. So you need a training that's going to give you that knowledge and then the skills you need to be an effective supervisor. Even more so, you need a training that's going to help you learn how to maximize your talents. So when you implement what you've been learning, it's going to be a system that works for you. The more you invest in your talents, the more often they're going to show up as strengths. This is what's going to transform you into an authentic leader. And that means you'll stop worrying about doing things right and focus on doing the right things, to paraphrase Warren Bennis. So in a nutshell, by getting the right supervisor training, you'll be able to implement new, effective systems that focus on the things that you need to do to more quickly get you to your goals. And that includes aligning those systems with your talents and your objectives. It also includes cutting out those things that you do that aren't helping you succeed. That's how you do less work and achieve more. It also makes you feel more confident and empowered. And that means when your supervisor, administration, or even students suggest/demand another program or initiative, you're better able to advocate for yourself and your team. So my question for you is, do you want 2022 to be better than 2021? And by that I mean, do you want to feel less stressed and overwhelmed? Do you want to be able to focus your energy on the things that matter most to you instead of just putting out fires? Do you want you and your team to be more productive while at the same time having more balance in your lives? If you said yes to any of these things, or maybe all of them, then you have to take the first step towards supervising differently. We've been talking a lot about getting the right training, so it would be pretty awful of me to just stop right here and wish you luck finding one. Instead, Alicia and I were so frustrated with our own supervisor experience, we wanted to develop exactly that kind of training. We've been working for the past 3 years to get all of those elements in place, and the result of all of our research and labor is the Supervisor Strengths Institute. The Institute is an 8-week program that combines online asynchronous learning with both group and individual success and accountability coaching. You'll also get a code to take the Clifton Strengths Talent Assessment and get the Clifton Strengths Report for Managers. And that's the only report they have that gives you your top 10 talent themes. So your dominant themes that you use every day. We start off the Institute for the spring on Tuesday, January 11th at 2 p.m. with our first group success and accountability calls. There, you'll get to meet us and everyone in your cohorts. We'll also give you an overview of the program and discuss how you can get the most out of your experience. Then each week, you will work through an online module at your own pace. And that includes homework and self-reflection prompts that are going to help you make the subconscious conscious, as Jung so brilliantly stated, and it's also going to help you connect what you're learning to your talents. You get access to those online modules for a full year, so even though we're done with the program, you can still go back in and review anything or see if you missed anything, or maybe you just want to refresh what you learned way back when. Then each Tuesday, we'll have another group success and accountability call to review that week's content. It's an opportunity to ask any questions, share success stories, talk about areas of frustration, and it's also a great way to ensure you're keeping up with the curriculum. We know how many distractions you deal with on a daily basis, so we wanted to add a little positive peer pressure there to keep you on course. And all of our calls for the Spring Institute will be on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. But don't worry, we know how busy you get and things come up, so we record each of them. So if you can't make it, you can always watch them later, even up to a year later. We also added a private Facebook group just to help the cohort connect and so you can ask questions throughout the week. You don't have to wait until our call on Tuesday. So we know that you may not want to talk about everything in front of the group, so we also included 3 individual success and accountability calls. You get one 30-minute session for the first 4 weeks, one for the second 4 weeks of the program, and then one to use after. So again, you can go into specific issues, ask questions, and in general, just make sure you're working to implement what you're learning. We wanted to make sure that you had all the success and support that you need to not just learn better ways to supervise, but to develop those new systems that are going to allow you to transform yourself and your team. So we only do this workshop 3 times a year, once a semester and then during the summer. And we're enrolling for our spring session that again starts January 11th. We already talked about how busy you are, and maybe you think this sounds great, but it's just not the time. We know you're busy, and that's why this is so important. Going back to that quote from Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So being as busy as you are right now isn't just about, well, it's just how it is right now. It's because your systems and talents aren't aligned with your goals. And I just want to add, including any goals you have to be less stressed, to be more balanced, and feel like the confident, empowered leader that you really are. So if you want things to be different, you have to do something. And yes, would it be great if circumstances would suddenly change? Absolutely. But how likely is that to happen? The pandemic doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Enrollment doesn't seem like it's going to suddenly increase. And I don't know about you, but I don't think your supervisors or the administration is going to suddenly say, you know what, we're asking too much of our folks. Let's hire more people. Let's start cutting some of their workload. Let's give everybody raises. And if that doesn't happen, that means it's up to you. And since we offer this only 3 times a year, can you really afford, both you and your team, to go through another semester like the ones that were in 2021? Okay, so you're probably wondering, how much is all of this? We wanted to make this affordable for everyone, even if your institution won't cover the cost. Now, hopefully that's not the case, but we know how it's always the professional development budgets that are the first to go. So if you break down the cost of all of these elements, the 8-week online curriculum, the group coaching calls, the individual coaching calls, the Clifton Strengths report for managers, it would be a value of over $2,500. But we're offering it to you for just $795. And if you register by Friday, December 24th, you can get a discount of $200. That means you can get everything we just talked about for only $595, but only if you sign up by midnight on Friday, December 24th. So we wanted to make sure that we were giving great value, but you still might be thinking that it's out of reach given your professional development budget, even with that $200 discount. And we definitely understand how that feels. Honestly, before I stopped working on campus, I thought about my professional development in the same way. What was my budget and how much was what I wanted to do? Now, after I left campus, I realized that if I wanted to do a training, if I wanted to get coaching, it was all on me. I was my professional development budget. And that's when I pivoted and realized that I had been letting someone else control my development. I started to think less about the cost and more about the value I was getting. If you remember, we talked about how supervisors who don't have effective systems lose a full day of personal productivity each week. What would you give to get 25, what would you get to do to get 52 extra days each year? What are you already paying in overtime that you're not being compensated for? And what's the cost of you being so stressed and overwhelmed all the time? Now, that being said, I worked on campus long enough to know that even though my budget may not have anything into it, that doesn't mean there's actually no money. I knew that if there was something I wanted to do, I could ask my supervisor and maybe even HR if they could finance it. And more often than not, if I made a compelling case about how that opportunity was going to benefit the institution, I got the money I requested. And I say this to you because I am so tired. We are so tired of so many of you feeling the way you feel and working as hard as you do without the support you need. I don't want there to be any barriers between you and your growth as a leader. So if you need more specifics to bring to your supervisor or anyone else that you think you might be able to get funding from, you can get details on our website at strengthsuniversity.org/Supervisor Strengths Institute. And I'll add that if you want to register, but your institution needs an invoice instead of doing a reimbursement, we're happy to do that for you. Just email me at ann@strengthsuniversity.org and we'll get you registered now so you take advantage of the discount and possibly the bonus I'm going to mention next. So obviously, this is the end of the semester. It's right before the holidays and right before that oh so exciting week off that most of you get. And so I know you're busy trying to get everything finalized before you're off for that well-deserved break. So just to prompt you into action, so you don't forget to register by Friday and take advantage of that $200 savings, if you register by Monday at midnight, that's Monday, December 20th, You'll also get a bonus individual coaching session. So instead of 3 30-minute coaching sessions, you'll get 4. And you can use that extra one either during our 8-week program or after to help you move towards your transformation even faster. And if you want to register, and we certainly hope you do, there's a link either in this email, if that's how you got this podcast, or in the description, the show description. So I just want to wrap this up by thanking you for being a part of our 2021 wrap-up series. We hope you learned a ton about yourself, your brain, your talents, how to start tracking your energy, how to assess your systems, and more. But remember, just learning it doesn't make that change possible. So we hope that we will see you in January at the Supervisor Strengths Institute. If you have any questions about the Institute or anything that we covered over these last 4 sessions of this series, please don't hesitate to contact me at ann@strengthsuniversity.org. And besides that, until next year, stay strong.